Welcome back to the program. Well, as I said, it looks very, very different, but it is a barrel of fun. And I asked the man, really, what's it called and what's it about?
This is the Slider two-seat hovercraft. We make a four-seat version as well. It's an air cushion vehicle, is a technical term, and it's a craft it's got a motor in it. It's got a lift fan and it's got a thrust fan. And what happens is this engine drives the lift fans. It produces an air cushion, so it's an aircraft. It floats free off the ground, and the thrust fan propels it along. It's a very efficient way of transport, and it leaves very little marks behind on the ground as well.
They've been around as a concept for a long time, but obviously there's a lot of development to get it into a stage where you can commercialise it like this.
Well, they've been around since about 1960, so that's almost 45 years now. Technology's advanced a bit since then. There's new materials, there's lighter and more powerful engines, and our particular craft here, the Slider, it's a combination of all the good points. We've used good special materials, we've used a good engine, and we've used some fairly unique combinations of lift and drive systems as well.
Well, we're not going to ask you too much about that because that's that's your secret.
Yeah, well.
But what about the motor? Tell us about the motor.
Well, it's a German engine. It's called Hirth. It's a very lightweight twin-cylinder 55 horsepower engine, and it'll send the Slider along at almost 80 kilometres an hour on smooth ground.
What sort of terrain will it cover?
It'll handle reasonably rough ground. It's a machine that's very sensitive to the surface over which it's travelling. It's not travelling down a $100 or $1 million a kilometre road way like a car, so it has to cope with some pretty severe conditions sometimes. And one thing you've got to watch out for is travelling too fast in unknown territory, because you never quite know what's in front of you. But on water it'll travel in rough water up to about the same, similar to about the same length.
Those cushions underneath, you've got those, what looks to me like some sort of jetty type system.
Yes.
Does that actually hit the ground? Does that wear out?
Yes. When the engine starts and the craft's taken up to full power, it lifts about 250 mils above the ground. So the solid hull is flying at that height. The skirt is one of the secrets of why the hovercraft works so well now. Originally they were developed with no skirt, and they had to use almost helicopter type horsepower to lift it off the ground. This skirt contains the air cushion, and if it was on a perfectly level surface it would show an air gap of around about 10 millimetres all the way around. Now the skirt is shaped so that it provides stability. In a dynamic situation the craft's always moving around. In reality the craft is always touching here and there, and we use a special abrasion resistant hovercraft skirt material we import from the UK, so it lasts surprisingly well.
You would be an experienced operator, but what about a novice? How long does it take to learn how to turn something like that?
Well, we had Mickey Havoc on his show last week go out with about 5 minutes instructions. So he came back, and although he looks in full control, he wasn't. But he came up through some oyster beds and up a ramp and narrowly missed a car, and he did quite well. And you can send a beginner out and they'll come back quite safely. But even after hundreds of hours use, there's still a lot of places you can go to, and it's still challenging. So yeah, it appeals to a wide variety of skills, and because with the combination of features on it, it's actually easy to drive.
Now obviously it's a recreational vehicle, but as far as farming is concerned, it'd be a good thing to get across riverbeds and swampy areas and the whole lot.
Sure. Well, recreational is only one aspect of its uses. It's a utility machine as well, and because it's amphibious, it doesn't matter whether there's how deep the water is, or even if there's any water there at all. So farmland, like this lake here, that the water level rises and drops, you can still travel over it quite safely, and in an emergency, or just to travel out to one of your paddocks, which the access might be quite limited, it's in certain situations it's the ideal machine.
And mud, of course, they wouldn't even worry about mud.
Mud is great.
You said 2 and 4. Is there any bigger ones for the tourist operator?
Yes, started to get a bit more serious after that. We've got a 7-seater, which is V8 powered, 250 horsepower. That's fully enclosed. Above that we've got a 12-seater, and we've got one of those in Vancouver currently, giving tourist rides in the harbour. And we've just got concept designs for a 25-seater passenger craft. We have also built 3 platforms, industrial hover platforms for Western Australia, and they range from 7 tonnes up to 40 tonnes, and they travelled out on a lake that would dry up, but it was very muddy, and it carried heavy drilling equipment, and that's an example of specialist hovercraft use.
Spare parts, obviously you're manufacturing the machines. What about spare parts?
Well, we make virtually everything in our factory, and we can supply all the spare parts, but also a lot of the items are off the shelf, so we recommend you carry a few spare items, such as spare blades, spare drive belt, and a few spare fingers, but generally they're pretty spare skirt fingers, that is, not your own fingers.
Yeah, no, I did hesitate on that one, Steve.
So just if you're, quite often you're way out a long way from civilization, so you can generally always get back. So.
Now, price, I would imagine they'd be fairly expensive because it's pretty upfront technology.
Well, it all depends on your income, but people say, oh, is that all? And other people say it's expensive. But they're around about, starting price is around about $40,000.
A lot more fun than a four-wheel bike, I'm sure. I'm Rob Cope-Williams. You've either been watching or you've just missed Rob's Country. Back at the same time next week. Until then.